or it'll actually run out by itself. Good evening, Super League fans across the globe. We're back for a new season of ups and downs, highs and lows, witty banter, and a healthy dose of nostalgia for all you Championship Manager fans out there. We'll be talking tactics, lineups, transfers, gossip, as well as covering some of the games as objectively as possible. So a bit like Match of the Day, only if it was presented by people who knew what they were doing instead of just old footballers. With me tonight to talk you through the action is former or current Monologue Dragons manager, Jamie. Good evening, Jamie.
How's it going?
Yeah, it's not too bad. Yourself? Have you enjoyed the summer?
Yeah, great to be back. Looking forward to tonight's action.
And very keen to be back, I'm sure. We've seen a lot of rebrandings over the summer, including yourself. What prompted you to go with that? I mean, the monologue and the logo were quite famous, a bit of an institution in the league, but you've gone for something completely different.
Yeah, I was going to stick with monologue because, I thought a lot of people were changing. I was going to stay the same. So I was toying with the idea, and then my little boy was saying, you need to be dragons, you need to be dragons. So in the end, he overruled me. So I come up with something new, which he was
Well,
happy with anyway.
you can't argue with that, can you? You know,
Exactly.
you gotta try to keep everybody happy, haven't you?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
the name monologue didn't seem to bring me or the previous managers any luck, so I thought I need all the help I can get, so I'm trying something different.
Yeah, why not? Okay, well, we'll see how you get on tonight anyway. You've got we're gonna run them in alphabetical order for the first round, and then we'll see what happens next week.
Yeah,
So that I'll try and mix it up so people don't know what order they're coming in at, and
yeah,
so Palmer and these guys aren't always at the bottom. So we might run it alphabetical one week and from the bottom the next. We'll see how we do it, but I think we should get into the action. I mean, I'm sure we could talk about what happened last season all night, but I think the kind of the postseason analysis was already done. So why don't we get
yeah,
started with a new season?
yeah. Sounds good to me.
So first up we have Ardsley Celtic. Of course, Ardsley Celtic is a rebrand.
Yeah,
SLF last season. What do you make of this? What do you make of their squad?
yeah. Looking at the lineup, I think it's looking pretty strong. Cole and Raquel. I thought possibly he might have gone with Dario saying up front over Tristan. I think Tristan obviously was quite done really well in the last season. But I think if you go back to the old save, Dario saying in the early seasons was really, his form was really good. So I thought he might have gone there. But he done well with the Vieira lottery getting in
Yeah,
Vieira. I think he's going to be a massive player for them, whoever had him. But I think that kind of the four DMs they've got with Zauri and Candela and Malevsky as well. I think that's a really strong, and also Terry and Martin Larson. I
yeah,
think
it's gonna be a tricky one to get through. I mean,
yeah,
you could maybe question the top three. I had a look, and not one of the front three were in the top 10 for anything at the end of last season. I know we were, the players had developed a little bit, by
yeah,
the season that we played, but still, I mean, Riquelme, Cole is young, but Tristan and Riquelme, they should have still been, I mean, they should have all been performing at that level, but yeah.
yeah. Well, I had Raquelme, and to be honest, last
Mhm.
season he just got injury after injury and didn't really
Mhm.
play enough games. And when he played, he Didn't perform well enough. But I think Ardsley Celtic are a number of teams who are a lot stronger defensively than maybe what they are offensively. Um, so I think, as I say, Cole will be interesting how he does season one, but I think it's a solid lineup. So I think obviously this game with B-Tech, it's going to be a tough one for both teams.
Yeah. Well, we'll have a look at the BTEC lineup
Yeah,
if we get this one. Oh, and we change to Mr. BTEC. Uh, there we go. So we've got BTEC here. Yeah, same questions really. I mean, last season they were wooden spoon. They got the wooden spoon, didn't they?
Yeah,
However, it's a completely different squad. It's a new manager to compare to the guy who kind of put them in an awkward position. I mean, we keep talking about Ian as a new manager. He's had a few games, but
yeah,
the majority of the poor results came under the old management.
yeah.
So what do you make of their chances and what they've done with their squad over the summer here?
Say Ian, I think when he came in last season, he did really well. But part of me thinks, where obviously I was quite keen, obviously, for a restart, as everyone knows, and I think now we've done it. I think it's proved the right decision. You see the new managers you've got, what they're bringing to the league. I think everyone, it seems to be a real, oomph about it at the minute, and I think that's part of it. But I think BTEC Ian was quite keen to carry on as normal, and part of me wondered, was that because there was no pressure on him. He was the bottom side. No one was ever expecting anything from BTEC. Now the tables have turned massively, and you look at the squad he's got now. I think Flyfee alluded to it on half and half pods. There's a lot of pressure on BTEC to at least finish in the top six. You look at the strikers they've got. Pizarro on the bench, Palermo, Inzaghi, Danielson. I'm not too sure about Danielson, if I'm honest, but you look at the defence, they've got Chivu, who hasn't even made the team. I think BTEC are really strong and are definitely one of the favourites for this season, or on paper anyway.
Yeah, strong side, obviously. Chivo being left out. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
my
a
views
bit.
on that. I mean, I rate Danielson as the Sloths manager last year.
Yeah,
I obviously had him, and I mean his set pieces. And if you can get him playing, which
yeah,
as anyone who's played the game, if you play with him in the game, it's also tricky
yeah,
to get him to work. If you eventually get him to work, he's like 20 assists and 25 goals a season easy. So, but
yeah.
we'll
The
see.
Saeed one, the Saeed one's interesting because I think when he posted his teams the other day, Saeed wasn't part of it, and I think a few people kind of were strongly, I can't believe you're not playing
Hmm.
Saeed.
Hmm.
He's better than this person and that person. So that's obviously, kind of swayed his thinking possibly because he's now starting tonight with Stam and Chivo's nowhere to be seen, not even on the bench.
Yeah, a bit surprising, but well, we'll see. We'll see if we can get the game underway.
Yeah,
This is obviously, as all of you know, this is my debut as a chairman. So I have done this as testing, but if it doesn't work, then then my apologies. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. It should let us proceed to the match now. So we'll do
yeah,
that. And if we do the same for Ardsley, and then we should be ready. Okay, so let's kick off the first half.
yeah,
Connor speeds are very fast as usual, and we'll see how we get on. So everyone, it's the first game of the new season. So I hope you enjoy it. We'll let it run, and if anything happens during the game, we'll obviously stop if we have to, and otherwise just talk through it. Most of you are probably regular listeners, so you know the drill. But I just thought in case anyone new had joined, then it might be nice for you to know. So we're at the Peg, home of Ardsley Celtic, and they're taking on BTEC Troopers. See the thing about
yeah.
Danielson and dead balls.
Yeah. The curse is coming on as soon as you kind of criticize someone. Same with and Joe Cole, they both scored.
Oh my god! I mean,
Both,
we're 12 minutes in. We've had two goals and a red card, and a red card for Ardsley Celtic. So, um, I mean,
this is the problem in terms of where I think, obviously I did a lot with Boise in terms of what you do now. These are
mhm.
do you drop Raquelme and kind of do that? Do you drop one of the DMs in? These are the kind of interesting talking
Yeah,
points.
I mean, they're executive decisions. I mean, I've had a look at it. I think that I will take one of the AMCs out and put a new defender in because he's
Yeah,
playing with two defenders. I
yeah,
mean,
you've got
you could also pull Milevski back, but then you'd have to like remove the wings really. So
yes, it's a tough one.
so I think I will, considering Cole has scored, I'm gonna
Yeah,
take Riquelme off.
yeah.
Um, I'm gonna put this boy, who I've never heard of,
Yeah,
Kufwe.
he's from Roma, I believe.
Right, okay, and we're gonna run with this, and well, fingers crossed, Hodgie.
Yeah,
This wasn't maybe not the start you'd been
yeah,
dreaming of. Ian will be quite delighted with this so far, I think. Well,
yeah.
the
That's
result maybe, but we'll
a
see.
big blow, losing Larson, especially going down to 10 men so early on in the game. Is
Yeah, I mean the score. Oh well, you know,
Milevski.
that's another old slot.
Oh, oh,
Oh my god! Oh, this
oh
is
my God, this is crazy.
this is not
This
this is
is
this is
crazy.
not what we were maybe expecting.
We
Pull.
we wanted drama on opening night, and we
Yeah, well,
certainly
we're
got it.
certainly gonna get it. Pull Milevski down. Should we put these guys in? Maybe do an arrow. What do you think about this?
If I'm being honest, I'd probably leave the arrows and I'd probably leave
Leave
him
them
out
out here.
wide.
Yeah, and just
Uh,
hope for the best.
yeah, well, he's playing with 9 men. I don't think he can question what you're doing. You've got two at the back. It's just,
Do you want
you
to? Should
know,
we take? I can take Cole too.
I'd probably leave Cole where he is. I
Yeah,
think, he's got to try and have some kind of outlet, I think. So, it's a tough one with 9 men, what you're supposed to do.
yeah,
But
exactly. Well,
I think,
he did it with 10. Maybe he can do it with
yeah,
9 as well. We'll see.
yeah.
We'll see at halftime if uh, if anything changes. I mean
Oh,
I mean, the,
whoa, this
the,
is massive with 9 men.
but the cards just keep flying in. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Referee Wayne Oldham. I'm not sure what he's
yeah, he's,
he's doing to Martin Atkinson, trying to draw the
yeah,
attention away from the game and onto himself.
yeah, I think he's trying to make a name for himself on opening night.
I mean, what do you
Where'd you
say to
start?
where do you
Yeah.
start with the first half like this?
Well, the perfect start for B-Tech, wasn't it? Obviously going 1-0 up. I know Ardsley came back, but when they've had the red card, then after 13 minutes, you're starting to think, right, come on, let's get on top. Obviously, Malebski's then scored a screamer, and then they have the second red card, and as B-Tech manager, you're thinking, right, come on, we may be 2-1 down, but it's 9 men now. Let's kick on. Let's you know, get this game sorted, and then to concede a third goal, that's
That's
really put the cat amongst the pigeons, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to say about this. What we can make
Yes,
about it. I mean, it's a sellout crowd. That's that's
yeah.
my comment so far, and
Well,
they're certainly getting their money's worth, aren't they? I
oh,
mean, BTEC, to be fair, they've had 5 shots. They've equaled Ardsley basically.
yeah. Well,
They've had
this
more corners. They've just not taken the chances.
as B-Tech manager now against 9 men second half, you're hoping for even though they're 3-1 down, you've got to be hoping for at least a
Hoping
point.
for a 3-3. We'll see. I'll kick it off
Yeah,
and we'll see what
I suppose.
happens. Oh, but Ardsley is still coming forward, so
Yeah, it's looking more that Ardsley are going to get the next goal. If I'm being honest, I think. Oh, it's
I
a penalty.
a missed
Oh, save.
penalty.
Oh,
This is crazy.
that we couldn't have asked for a better
Oh, and
start.
here's Tristan with the goal.
Wow.
The BTEC keeper and defense there's work to be done. Oh, and here we go
That's
with
Palermo.
Palermo.
Oh, could they get back into it?
I mean, they'd have to hurry up.
Yeah, it's not looking likely now.
No, 2 minutes left. Vieira running the show, probably. My
Never,
goodness.
never any different with Big Vieira playing, is it? He's a huge signing for whoever got him, but I think B-Tech are going to be massively disappointed. They've played, 60 minutes against 9 men. They've played 70 odd minutes against 10 men. And you look at second half, and Ardsley have had 10 shots on
Yeah,
goal compared to their 3 shots.
they're
They've only
out.
had one on target in the second half against 9 men. They're going to be really disappointed. Look at Yap, Stam, and Vogel. I thought Vogel was I thought maybe he was a bit of a dodgy shot, but Stam, you're not expecting that from Stam.
No.
Saeed only played a 6. He hasn't really justified his selection. Um,
Yeah, it's
some
that's a bitter pill to swallow for BTEC, I think. I mean, Vogel, there's a lot of, to be honest, there's a lot of interest in him
yeah,
from non-SL clubs outside, for lots of bids coming in before the start of the season. Yab
maybe on
Stam,
smell.
obviously, 10, 15, yeah, I think there was 10 million bids in for him at some point, but there won't be any 10 million bids for him after this, will there?
No, that's that. The result is obviously not so much a shock. I think Ardsley have got plenty of quality in their team, but playing so long with 10 and then 9 men, you've got to be expecting a B-Tech win there. But fair play to Ardsley. There's some massive performances. As I say, Zauri, who I think is outstanding
Hmm.
player. Candela. Malebski and Vieira, I still think Vieira quite quiet, a 7 for him. Doesn't normally do below an 8, but
But he has Milevski and Sauri,
yeah, and
between him, so.
Tristan too. He's justified his selection instead of Hussein. So Hodgie's obviously going to be a bit concerned now with 2 centre halves being banned and obviously 2 red cards. But as far as opening night goes, I don't think he's going to care about that at the
No,
moment.
that's
His
we'll
job done.
take the 3 points in the champagne. So
Yeah,
we'll we'll say what a start. What a start to the
Yeah,
season. I know we've got Chadli Cannons coming up here, but as I said, we're going to do them in the order that they were on the fixture list. So we're going to go
yeah,
with Asta Athletic, which if we look at the tactic, then maybe people will recognize who this is. I mean,
yeah,
it's obviously
yeah,
Alf and his magic arrows.
yeah.
Um,
He's as I say, it's an attacking team. I'm surprised he played for so long last year, and he had so many clean sheets. But it's an attacking lineup. I'm
mhm.
not Placente and Zanetti both playing kind of narrow. I thought that was a bit strange. Um, but obviously Alf's proved last year by making the final. He knows what he's doing. But I did think them both being in the centre was a bit strange. But
Yeah,
we'll see.
but as you know, with Alf, he kind of knows what he's doing when it comes
Yeah,
to positioning players.
it's like Del
Um,
Piero. He took a lot of stick, and I was another one. I thought that was a strange signing of Del Piero, but no doubt Alf will probably get him firing because he seems to, get players who are not fancied by
he,
everyone else and turn them into great team players. So
I
I'm
think he picked up, did he not pick up Håkon Mild in the middle of the winter or something, or in the transfer window or something, and played him in
yes,
the second half, or
yeah, and he's
so
outstanding.
and he did very well. Looking at the
Yeah,
squad though, do you think is it good enough? I mean, I know we don't know what Alf knows about these players, but do
yeah.
you on the face of it think that they're strong enough to repeat their performance of getting to the final?
I'd be surprised if they make the playoffs with that side. Obviously, it's hard to say because Alf certainly knows what he's doing. But if you're just looking at the players, I'm not sure he's one of the strongest teams in the league.
Mm. I mean, Bartes in goal is obviously going to be a huge help, but apart from that,
Yeah,
I'm not as convinced as I was with the squad last season. But obviously, Alf is
no,
a bit of is a bit of a tinker man. There's a bit of
yeah,
Ranieri over him, isn't there?
yeah.
So once he gets the
Oh,
first
yeah,
transfer window and gets
you
some of the
never
more
know what he's gonna.
experienced guys in, maybe that'll help him out as well. That run he
Yeah,
went on in the second half of last season was incredible. So
yeah,
um,
exactly.
not much to say there. The only other thing I noticed is that he was singing. I'll butcher this guy, the Romanian guy's name, the young striker, Nicolae, maybe.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
was singing his praises. He'd done some testing with him, and apparently he did really well. But he's not even on the bench, so I'm not
yeah.
sure what happened to him. But we'll see what happens. We should be okay with this one. And then we've got Thiago and his men, obviously the Brazilian, who plays kind of an Alf kind of tactic, but a little
Yeah,
bit
it's very
different.
similar. But I think Hools has done that since kind of day one. I think last season he started experimenting with different formations because it just wasn't working. But he's kind of gone back to a similar tried and trusted formation.
Hmm.
It's definitely firepower in there. He's gone very South American. Standard Aymar, Deco, Ronaldinho, Ronaldo. Um, I'm surprised he's gone for an Elka over Elba. I thought Elba would have maybe been a bit stronger. But with an Elka, you never know what you're going to get. He'll either score an hat trick or be sent off, probably.
Yeah, no, that's
But
true.
I think they're a very strong squad. Hooligans. I think he got quite not lucky, but he was dealt a good draw in the transfer window.
Hmm.
Um, and I think he's definitely looking strong. Got Elba on the bench. You got Beckham, who's not playing, Mendieta and Emerton,
Yeah.
two quality DMCs. The back three is solid. Chiatis in goals. Hools is another one who's going to be massively disappointed if he doesn't make that top six.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the front three here,
Yeah,
very, very good. And you've got a back three of Samuel Campbell and Desai
yeah,
is also reasonable. I
and
mean, I know that Deco's playing ahead of Beckham. Obviously Beckham for the set pieces, presumably, and also he's a quality player.
yeah,
But we'll see how we get on. But let's kick this one off as well,
yeah,
and see how our second game rolls out. Yeah.
yeah,
Thiago asked me to leave the captain blank, so the game will select, and it'll be
yeah.
Ronaldo. So we're kicking off. We're at the Astro Oval, and we'll see how this one pans out. Oh,
Oh, my God.
I think some people might have to have a look at their hard tackling settings and maybe
Yeah,
reconsider because this
yeah,
is not going well.
yeah. Lucky enough, I don't think you really have to make a sub here. I think it's pretty
I will leave it. I will
but
leave it as is, to be honest.
this is well, we wanted excitement in opening
Yeah,
night.
controversy, excitement. You get a bit of everything here. So
But a big chance now for Aston Athletic. As I say, I didn't fancy them now, but 10 men for so long, they'd be hoping to make us count. Oh, there he
well,
is, Ronaldo.
here's Ronaldo. He's very very strong, especially early game. I think maybe we didn't see so. Oh, there's Del
See,
Piero as well.
I said Del Piero Alf would get him firing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Ronaldo, especially in the early 1 or 2 seasons, I think he's going to be, incredibly strong.
Mhm. That was almost disappointing compared to. Oh, it's not almost disappointing
Oh,
compared to the first game, but then we've got a second and a third. This is
oh.
so this is the opposite of the first game, really. This is here's a
Yeah,
oh, and
that,
here's Smith again. I mean, this is really they're really
that this
taking advantage of the extra man now, aren't they?
this is what BTEC really should have been doing, against Ardsley. But you know
Hmm.
that's that's those are the figures you'd expect. I think obviously going up against 10 men for so long.
Yeah.
Um, but this is a big result, obviously for Aston Athletic. As I say, you know, it's hard to myself and others did it all last season, not kind of wrote him off, and he just defied the odds. Obviously the red card has helped massively, but there's some poor performances.
Hmm.
Deco, I
Yeah,
thought
that's a terrible performance.
maybe in the midfield in the MC role, I thought Deco might have been a bit of a wild card shout. Maybe he could have gone with someone a bit more solid. Obviously Beckham is injured, so it's maybe his
Yeah.
hands were tied a bit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well,
When you
we'll
look
see,
at Alex,
we'll see what happens
yeah,
in the second half. But I mean, Zanetti definitely works in that position. But
yeah,
obviously, it's on a relatively cheap on a cheap background, isn't it? With
yeah,
against 10 men with that super narrow formation, it's
yeah.
against another super narrow. It's always going to be a little bit of a mess. And here we go with the fifth. Oh, unfortunately,
So
there's an injury to Rosicky. We've got
he's on the,
I think
yeah, Ortega,
I think we've got Ortega as an obvious up there.
yeah,
Still 30 minutes to go. This could be painful for Hooligans, to be honest.
yeah.
I
This
mean, it is
is,
already.
yeah. And the two sides who are fancied massively by a lot of people have both come away empty-handed tonight. So it's showing how difficult this league can be. Well, we all
Yeah,
know how difficult it is.
absolutely, absolutely. And there's the sixth, and that's Lee Boy. Lee Boyer. I mean,
This is a rough score. Like, even with 10 men, I think 6-1
six is
is something Hools are going to be. I don't know if maybe Hools is going to need to look at that formation again. I know they've played with 10 men for so long, but that formation didn't work a long time for him, for the last 2 seasons in the
mhm,
old save.
yeah.
So I think maybe he needs to look at something a bit different because I'm not sure.
I mean, they were third bottom last year. I think in the end
Yeah,
they dropped all. I mean, they had a reasonable sort of early start, but early season. But I think in the second
yeah,
half they were poor and dropped to third bottom by the end of
yeah,
it, using this tactic. So I was maybe a little bit surprised to see he'd gone with it again. Um, it's there's a lot to be said for the narrow formations,
yeah,
but because Alf did it last year with Stackenton, they got to the final. But Halle very very rarely put out a narrow formation. So
yeah,
maybe it's worth for him trying to find that balance.
yeah.
But I think Alf is just gonna. I
Oh, he's
mean,
going to be over the moon with that one.
he said this is my tactic for the season. I do not intend to change it. So, and
He's
based
not
on
going to need
today,
to.
then
Yeah, he's not going to need to.
no, this was absolutely fine. I mean, assists are spread out nicely. Everyone had a shot of the front people, even Zanetti
Yeah.
coming forward. Alan Smith, I mean,
Yeah, he's got
yeah,
good strikers. Hasselbank has been brilliant. Smith will get goals. Ortega on the bench, I think, he can certainly do a job. So
hmm
he's got people who can score goals, that's for sure.
yeah. Well, he'll have to now with Rosicky
Yeah.
injured,
Oh, yeah.
so he'll probably have to. So, but anyway, that was another action-packed game. So,
Crazy. Crazy.
so
Goals.
so
Yeah,
So we'll have to move swiftly on, and we've got is this the first one of our new boys? I think so. I
I
think
think so.
Ryan and his Bolton Phoenix sides are our first new boys, and we can maybe see in the tactics that is one of the new boys because this
Yeah.
doesn't look like an established Super League
Oh,
members lineup.
yeah, this was a bit of a wild one. I think obviously saying, not a lot of people play with wide, but having two kind of DMs right and left, and then AMs right and left. I thought that was a bit of a wild one.
it's brave, but we can say he's up against Sloths, so maybe it'll work because he's up against another new guy.
Yes.
What do you think about Bolton's squad in general? He did a lot of wheeling and dealing in the window.
Yeah.
I think Ryan was one of the people who had most people in and out. Do you think that shows? And why
Yeah.
is Henri on the bench?
When I looked at the team and obviously the squad, I was massively surprised at the Thierry Henry on the bench. I looked, you've got Robbie Fowler starting. Robbie Fowler wasn't even in the original draft. Obviously, he came in the Vieira lottery when you had obviously the different pots.
Hmm.
And I'm pretty sure he wasn't even in pot one. I believe he might have been in pot two. And now to see him start, then obviously you've got Fowler. There's no Shearer, no
Hmm.
Henry, no Fernando Torres. I know Torres is a bit young,
Hmm.
but I was massively surprised to see Fowler and, to be honest, see Zambrotta on the bench as well. I thought possibly could have been in there over Neville, um, but I don't know that. I'm not a big fan of obviously the two players out right and left, Figo and Raul. I think Figo obviously can play there, but Raul, I'm not sure that's his best position. Um, it is difficult when you're a new manager, but I think looking at this team, so much is going to hinge on Veron. I think if he plays well, he gives him half a chance.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I think I wouldn't expect them to be possibly making the playoffs.
Mm, yeah, I mean, no doubt they'll put like 9 path slots now that
Yeah,
we've
don't get me
slated
wrong.
every single player and the formation.
Their,
But
their day is unbelievable. Figo on his day, Veron, one of the best players in the
hmm.
league.
Hmm.
I just think obviously Fowler is the strange one. I think if you had maybe Henri or Shearer,
Hmm.
um, I just think Fowler's a bit of a weak link. You probably
Yeah,
score 5 now, but
yeah,
that's
yeah.
my honest opinion. I think it's a bit of a weak link.
Yeah, and if we look at Rob and his size, so he is spoiled for choice when it comes to strikers. To be fair, or attacking
Yeah,
players. Well, he's spoiled for choice in general. I mean, I know that
yeah,
some people maybe asked a couple of questions about some of his transfer dealings. I think he let either Dede or Roberto Carlos go, but it looks as if it's because he doesn't play with defensive wide players. He doesn't play with fullbacks. That's a
yeah,
little bit of a surprise. Maybe not considering it's a new person, a new player in the league, but that's a bit of a surprise.
yeah. I get plenty of strike force. Obviously, Crespo, Brozek, Vieri on the bench. I think Rivaldo. I I think I'm not his midfield four. I'm not massively keen on, if I'm honest. Salakovic, he can do a good job. But Rivaldo, Balak, and Simeone, I'm not massively keen on it on either of them.
Yeah, I mean to be fair, I'm quite keen on those five, but I would not line them up like this. That's all I'm saying. But
Yeah,
I finished second bottom of the league last year with a
yeah.
Sloth team, so he doesn't have that much
We
to to
we
he doesn't
we're
have to do that
talking.
much to improve on what I did
Yeah,
last year. Of course, it's a different squad,
yeah.
but still.
It just looks
Um,
like a basic formation. There's kind of no arrows there. I don't know. It just looks like it's been kind of thrown together. I don't know. I'm not the back three. I'm not overly keen on either. I don't think there's massive quality there. But
well,
we're
we've
gonna
been
find
we've
out
been
now.
we've been wrong before. Let's put it
Uh,
that way.
I've been wrong a lot. Don't worry.
Right, Brosek for some reason wasn't auto signed a
Yeah,
number, so maybe the game
but he's
doesn't
got
really.
Brozek and Crespo, so he's gonna have a chance in any game he plays with them too.
And
That's
Christian
well,
Vieri on the bench. I mean, it's
yeah,
it's it's a
exactly.
strong side. So, but let's see. This is two new
Yeah,
boys coming up against each other
yeah.
with two
Good
formations
luck.
that we are
Good luck
not.
to both.
Yeah, good luck to both Rob and to Ryan, and let's kick it off. So things are happening.
Yeah, it's a lot of well, no goal, no red card in the first 10 minutes. That disappointed me.
Yeah, new record for the Super
Yeah,
League.
especially with
Long.
Simeone playing as well. It's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm not sure if he's got hard tackling on. Of course, all
no,
team instructions are secret. They're only known to the
yeah,
chairman and the manager themselves. So, well, well,
not the best.
down to earth with a
Yeah,
bang.
back with a bang. Yeah,
Oh
come
dear,
on,
oh dear, oh dear.
Sloths. Oof.
That's not gone well, has it?
No,
Um, let's have a look at the player stats here. I mean, I know Palmer enjoys it when I talk about touches. I'm not sure why, but but we'll leave that for
Yeah.
the after hour stream. To be honest, let's have a look here. No, no,
Varane.
Raul Fowler doesn't work. Figo doesn't. I mean, I know they get sevens, but for me it doesn't work. If
Varane was
Verong is getting a
six.
six,
Yeah.
then he's in the wrong position for me. I mean,
Yeah, he's got to get into the AMC role where he was just unbelievable. I
yeah,
just, yeah, I don't know.
it's.
It's not,
I think it's a decent start, but he's lucky that he's playing sloths because
yeah, I
I
think
think I th-
both of
I
them
think
could be
Stack.
saying the
Yeah,
same
I
thing,
think
couldn't they?
yeah, I think Stack. If Bolton or Sloths, I mean, if we look at the numbers here, if either of them had been playing Astra Athletic, for example, with the way they played today, they would have been five down without the red card. I think after
Yeah,
the first half. This is. But we I wasn't given a sort of a soft start to the league. I think I
no,
lost. I think I lost 10 in a row. So so I can't say too much again. But it's a
yeah,
learning curve for these guys. It's new to be in the league. It's new how to set up your
yeah.
team, to play with
Oh,
your team
yes.
instructions, etc.
It's difficult. It's on a total different level to playing on your own, playing a
Hmm.
network game. This is just something which, but unfortunately, you've got to learn fast, in this league. Otherwise, it could be over before you know it.
Yeah, I mean a gap could open up fairly
Yeah.
quickly. So, but let's see the second half. Oh, we've got an injury already. Um,
Van Bronckhorst, I'd say, would you?
yeah, I'll probably put back. I don't because he's got to do some defensive work. I don't think Mads Jorgensen
No.
would be suitable here. So I'll put Van Bronckhorst in. He's left. Is Ballack left as well? Oh yeah. Well, either way, they'll
Yeah.
stay here. That'll do. Hopefully that'll not prove. Oh, there's a penalty. Ah well, Veron gets his. And here comes Robbie Fowler to prove us
Well,
all wrong.
yeah,
It's a better second half from from
yeah,
from
we've
from
we've got
Phoenix.
goals. Unless you're small Sloths manager, I think you would have rather this stay 0-0.
Yeah, and then now Baron's coming in as well. Maybe Simeone did have something to say in that midfield role anyway. I mean,
Yeah,
that was quite. Is he across from him? Let's see. Yeah. No, he's not actually. He's on the
Ver-
he's on the
Ver-
right. So
yeah, Verona
yeah.
poor first half, but showed his quality then in the second half.
Yeah, came through in the second half. Figo got the crosses in as well. Fowler. I mean, I'm kind of pleased that Ryan has proved well me wrong anyway with the performance in the second half, but I, I think it's on a very cheap background. I think
Yeah, he didn't have to do a lot. I think I've been worried about the Sloths. I think when the Sloth squad was put together, I think everyone kind of would have chosen the Sloth squad. If you would just put the 14 squads out and said, here's the squads, who do you kind of want? And you asked people, I think a lot of managers would have been, the Sloth squad would have been high up on their agenda. Um,
yeah, I'm fairly certain that someone asked me how do we apply for the Sloth Squad job. Was it not? Was that? Does that not ring a bell? No, was that not you?
yeah, I said that earlier.
I thought as much.
I was quite open. I thought, yeah, let's have a go. But no, I just think you look at their team there. Again, it doesn't look as if much preparation has kind of gone into that team. I may be wrong. He's got his own save and that's what he's tried out and that's what worked. But they're just kind of no arrows, no nothing. It just seemed to be. I don't know. I personally feel the midfield forward cross was pretty weak, and I maybe would have looked to have got Vieri in with Crespo and Brozek and
Hmm.
tried to play the three possibly because they are probably his three standout players.
I mean, you
Uh,
can even play Brosek behind if you want, and
yeah,
drop there Alessandro. You can play Van Bronckhorst behind. I mean, there's lots of things you
yeah,
could do. There's nothing wrong with the squad. I mean, I know some people maybe questioned his dealings. I don't think they were that bad, to be honest. I think the squad is still strong. I think the
did he?
formation.
Was it him that got rid of Dede? Because if it was, I think that was a crazy move. I'm not sure
Well,
it was him, but I don't know. But his videos are great if that's anything to count for.
I think, to be honest, I did. I mean, I tried with a 4-4-1-1 kind of long ball formation or something. When I
Yeah,
first started out, we've all got
yeah,
to learn. And I mean,
yeah. Of
the
course you have. Yeah,
Side did well in the second half. I think on
yeah,
a fairly cheap background, but they both. both the squads are quite good, and I think with the right tweaking, with the right whatever, then they could maybe push for a top six. But
Yeah.
it's tricky, yeah, it's tricky.
Veron, as we said, Veron is going to be key to them doing anything this season.
Yeah, I think so too. So now we've got one of our old faces has rejoined us.
Yeah,
Mr. Christopher has joined us with his trainer fascination and his and his bathroom videos.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I've missed those early morning toilet videos massively.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't follow already, I mean, I know it's not the greatest advertising for following the channel or
No,
following
that's
the
great.
Twitter account,
Great.
but have a look. It is funny.
Yeah,
Timmy is a funny guy, and the
yeah,
videos are all of the guys put up great videos. To be
yeah,
honest, it's really a pleasure to see that people are so engaged with it.
yeah.
What have we got here? We've got, I think, I mean, I don't know. Did people talk about Chudley? I'm
I,
looking at this squad and I'm thinking,
I
should other
talked about
managers be scared of this?
I talked about Chadli mainly because of Timmy. If I'm being honest, I think I've said it before in times gone by. Tim for me changed the entire Super League. I mentioned it as kind of when Wenger came to Arsenal and kind of changed English football. With obviously his tactics and everything, and I think Timmy did when he came in. He won a game and he changed a formation. It was like just people didn't do anything, and then I think people kind of followed suit, and they used the formations or they changed it up. But I think he kind of changed the Super League, because before he came in, it was just people playing the same formations, win or
Hmm.
lose, they were just kind of going with it. And I think he kind of changed a lot in the Super League, and he's one of the reasons why I the least fancy Chadley to make the playoffs.
I mean, looking at the squad, um, goalkeeper, could you get much better?
Well,
I know he's got a reputation for bottling in the big games, but
yeah,
Frey is a good keeper.
yeah,
The back two, I mean, they're good, but I'm not sure if it's the two central defenders I would have hoped for. But then we get into the defensive midfield. If I mean Liverani, Mendes da Silva, and Van Bommel. I mean, what are you gonna say? You could
yeah,
put Vieira in there. Apart from that, I have no idea who I would put in there instead. I mean, there's good players, but is Milevski better than Liverani? Maybe not. I mean, I played him last year, but still, Mendes da
yeah,
Silva, Ben Bommel, they are strong. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
I think the only with obviously my defensive midfield with Tamasi, Ndai, and Kaladza, they kind of, I
it's
think
also
that's
good.
it's also good. But I think Baumer and Romadal are going to be great in this formation.
Hmm.
Um, and I think Rossini as well. He wasn't in the Super League last time. He wasn't drafted. I think loads of us tried to sign him, but he didn't want to come to the Super
Hmm.
League.
Hmm.
I think Rossini could be a big player in this team.
Yeah, he's got some very powerful players up front. I mean, a few maybe not at this point in the. Of course, now in 2019, everyone's talking about, or everyone knows Zlatan, but
Yeah,
he wasn't maybe talked about so much. But he also has Comandini and he has Casas, who, I mean, I won't click on him, but his stats are insane, to be honest,
yeah,
at the early game. So it'll be interesting to see what he, and Kutuzov, of course. So it'll be interesting to see what he can get out of it.
yeah.
And he's up against an uh, against the Scandinavian, a fellow
Yeah.
Scandinavian. I obviously resigned so I could focus on the chairman stuff. And Valian United manager, I probably butchered that. I mean, my Swedish pronunciation is terrible. Andreas Kalin is, or Kalin, I don't know, either one or the other. My phone will be beeping now, going, "I told you it's not like that."
He
So
won't be having
he
that.
he has a couple of injuries, Shevchenko and Saha. That's unfortunate, but his squad is looking strong as well. What do you think?
Yeah, he was another one who was dealt a very good squad. I think you look at the midfield going forward, Fiore, Rui Costa, Nakata. Obviously a lot of attacking talent there. Totti, um, who's someone the same as myself, I think the same as Valen manager, who would be kind of the player I'd build the team around. And Saviola. Saviola's a strange one. I think if you can get him firing, he can be great. His stats are unbelievable, but in the Super League he wasn't great. I think when Shevchenko's fit, if you would have Shevchenko instead of Saviola, I'd say that's a really strong team. Great back two, good solid keeper.
Hmm.
Roy Keane, outstanding, and as I say, there's so much attacking talent in that squad. Then He's got Mike Duff on the bench. He's got got good options. So I think
Yeah,
it's a solid team.
he's probably the strongest bench that we've seen so far this evening
Yeah,
with Olise, Duff, and Franca. I mean, I know not everyone rates Franca, but you can get at least a goal every other game out
yeah.
of him. I think
As I say, I
in
think
under
obviously
most circumstances.
if he would he even be on the bench if you'd had Saha and Shevchenko, maybe not.
No,
So
no,
he's got plenty of options there. It's a really I think he's another one that's done a lot of wheeling and dealing. I think
yeah.
but I think if you look at the plays he's got now, it's a strong squad.
Yeah, and he did a lot of tactics works as well, as you
Yeah,
can maybe see there. It says Valian versus Chudley version, and the
yeah,
version is blank, but I think it's version 2 or 3. But anyway, so yeah, some a few changes there, but I'm quite excited to see how
yeah. I
this one
mean,
is going to be is going to play out. So let's get on with the game, proceed to the match, hopefully, and we'll kick that off. Good chances early on for both teams. I
yeah,
think the wing backs for both team. I mean the way they play with
yeah,
those, that's a good clash. Maybe they'll cancel each other out and it'll be 0-0.
yeah,
You never know.
yeah. Romadal and Baumer, I think are really solid for Chudley.
And then Lisa Rasu and Cafu for
Yeah,
Valian. Oh, there's Rossini scoring on his
yeah,
debut. Yeah, you did call it.
yeah.
Lots of
I
people
think
were after him.
he's gonna be a massive player for Chudley.
Hmm.
Maybe not, name wise, he's obviously not your Shevchenkos or Vieiris or Crespos or Henrys, but I think he'll certainly bang him in.
Yeah, three out of the back five have got a yellow card in the first
Yeah,
half. Maybe that'll come back
well,
to
we're missing a red card, and we know we've gone a game without. Now it's we do one.
we might get there. I mean, three is not been. I mean, the tactics are fairly similar, so perhaps they are cancelling each other out a little bit.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
a
There's
huge
not
amount of shots on
look at the
target.
look at the ratings. There's not many outs. There's obviously not a, there's only 1-8 Roy Keane, who I did say would be
Hmm.
a solid player, but there hasn't really been any standout kind of performances yet. But
Hmm.
this
Yeah,
game is always going to be one of the tightest of the night.
yeah. Right. So let's kick off the second half. There wasn't that many
Yeah,
talking points, to be fair.
no,
Did he get any? No, there's no yellow cards on
no,
for him. So let's see
yeah.
what happens in the second half.
Chadli needs to keep it a bit calm with the few bookings he's got in the back.
Yeah. Oh, and that's
Yeah,
Mark coming up from midfield. Do you think we'll see this from Chorley grinding out results over the season? Oh well, maybe not.
Roy Keane.
Roy Keane. This could be a comeback for the ages.
Yeah,
Just a couple of minutes left. Last chance perhaps. Rui Costa must score but doesn't. Nope.
oh, yeah, yeah. Going
Oh.
back to the point there, I think Chudley. I think he's known, as I say, when he was last in the Super League for blowing teams away. He had, maybe a lot stronger team name wise. He had the Robins and Shevchenko and these type of players. But I
Hmm.
think he's got the team there. I think that will more, grind a lot of results out. I think they'll be tough to beat. Whereas before he had a lot of 5-4s. It was kind of we'll just score more than you. But I think he showed today is a lot of, everyone's played above a 7. 7 or 8. There's not one person playing a 6. So I think he's got a lot more kind of team ethic
Hmm.
around it now. And as I say, not so much superstars, but people like Rossini, Kutuzov, Romadal, they're just all perfect to kind of the formation he wants to play. And as you say, the DMs he's got there now, Van Bommel, Mendes, De Silva, Liverani, two of them played in 8. So
Yeah, an assist for two of them as well. So
yeah, exactly.
that's
So
a good one.
they're showing what they can do offensively as well.
Yeah, Roy Keane, man of the match
Yeah,
for me.
Roy Keane's a solid player for Val, and I think they've got so much attacking talent in those midfield three. I think Keane's going to be a massive player for them. So, I think Valen will be happy with the way it's gone. I think I did say about Saviola. If you're playing one up front, you need a bit more than what you're going to get with Saviola. Maybe he's a bit too small and lightweight to be playing that role. But they've got Shevchenko and Saha to come back, so they've got plenty of options.
Yeah, I think maybe perhaps also a little bit. I mean, if you've got a DMC and an AMC, do you need three? I mean, could you have perhaps
Yeah, that's what I was
could you
thinking.
have
But
put someone up front instead and just played a diamond? I mean, I know
yeah,
it's quite attacking, but when you see what you
yeah.
get out of Nakata, I mean,
Even. even if he played an extra AMC, behind Sav, he could even play Saviola as an AMC, really, because I don't think he scores enough goals to be a front man on his own. But I did think it was, I can't really call it defensive because all his midfield three are really attacking
Yeah,
players. But I
absolutely.
agree with you. I don't think there's enough at the top end of the pitch.
I mean, limited by the two injuries to Salah and
Yes, yeah,
Shevchenko.
Shevchenko especially, but I think Valian will be happy. Not happy, but I think he's put on a good show tonight. I think it was a close game. It was tough one to call, but I think Chadli will be delighted with the win.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well then, Mr. Hopkins,
Yeah,
we're going in alphabetical order. So
yeah,
next up, we've got our previously American based, currently South American based, and soon to be Irish based,
yeah,
Mr. Collins,
yeah,
um, with another rebrand. So this is um, the Flamingos, I think. Yes, the
yeah.
Flamingos that have come
That's
back
right.
as
Yeah,
Churchtown Massive, but. Yeah, well, massive. I'm not sure if that's a legitimate. I don't know. But
yeah,
I'll let him off. I'll let him off. He's been in
yeah,
America. We
yeah.
can't fault him for that.
Exactly.
Um, some people, quite a few people, mention them as preseason favorites. What do you think? It's a strong
Yeah,
squad.
it's a very strong squad. He's posted obviously his lineup on Twitter today, and obviously tagged me in, and a lot of people, which is great to see. A lot of people who are not associated with the league have been commenting, saying how strong a team it is, and that's what you want. Fans and that interacting. That's what we're trying to kind of, create. But it is a really strong squad. There's someone who, when Fifey was mentioned the teams he'd be expecting to be in the top two, they are someone who I think as well should really be tagged in that. I did see Kieran's video, and it did make me chuckle a bit. I kind of slaughtered a lot of people last year on co-coms, but Kieran wasn't one of them. If I'm honest, he was someone I always said was overachieving because the squad he had with the Flamingos I didn't think was the best, but he managed to get him into the playoffs. They were in the top six all season. So I think he done a great job. Obviously, he's taken a bit of offence because I said, they'd fall out of the playoffs, which they didn't. Uh, but I was I give a lot of praise to Kieran because I thought he did, really well to get that team in the playoffs. But I think he's got a lot stronger squad than what he had then. Now,
Hmm.
well, he's definitely got a lot stronger team.
I mean, Oliver Kahn early on. I mean, Bartes is a good keeper, but in the first season of the game, which we are for those of you who didn't follow the events over the summer, we've obviously restarted the whole league, given new people new squads to everyone. We were in season 4 or 5 of the game with the last season of the Super League, but it had gone a little bit stale, and we really needed a rebrand with all the new players and everything. So it started over. So that's why we're back in 2001, 2002, and Oliver Kahn is head and shoulders above any other keeper in the first season, I think. But
Yeah, he's a great keeper.
it's we'll see what happens. Robin is obviously going to be good.
Robin's
He's
the
got.
interesting one. I think first season maybe he's not as his stats aren't as great as
Mhm.
they, but I think he's definitely their key player. I do like Exter on the right hand side as well. I
Mhm.
think he'll be another great player for them.
Yeah. Well, you're talking him up now. Maybe
No,
it's
I've been
I don't know if that's a trick. So
no,
if
as
we
you
talk people down, they'll do
yeah.
awful. If we talk them up, then
No,
obviously,
but
well,
as you've said, plenty of people have talked Churchtown up this season. I think they're definitely one of the teams to beat.
yeah. Well, we'll see if you can beat them tonight.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
you have got I think a strong squad. If you look at the five across there, Giggs, as you mentioned yourself, the three DMs,
yeah,
Kalatza, Ndiaye, Tomasi, and then Giovanni on the right. I think that's a
yeah.
really strong five there. We spoke
I,
about it before as well. Maybe your AMC position you could do with a bit of extra cover. I mean, Robbie
yeah,
Keane can play there, but
yeah. I think my AMC on the right hand side, Giovanni starting tonight. I didn't really have an outstanding candidate for the right hand side, and I didn't really have one for the AMC. Robbie Keane and Cassano, even Galletti to an extent could play there, but they're not your Verons or your Aymars or those type of players, Raquelmes. So that's something that I'm going to look to address. As I
mhm,
say, I did obviously Tamasi and Ndai, they were both up for transfer if I could have got the top quality AMC, but it didn't seem to happen. They kind of
mhm,
went to other clubs. But I think my squad is, like Galetti's on the bench, strong options. But I think I'm definitely stronger defensively than I am offensively. Rustico, Simic, and then the three defensive midfielders. I think I'm defensively really strong, but maybe could be a bit stronger offensively. But that's what the transfer window will be for. But we've got a good squad, so there's no excuses.
Yeah,
Obviously,
Cesa's also a good player, and he's only
yes,
going to improve. Montella's decent, and Viduka, especially early game as
yeah,
well. He's very strong. I mean,
yeah,
if you can get the balls in from Giggs and Giovanni, and he can
yeah.
get the headers, he can battle it out with most defenders, to be honest. So
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Giggs and Giovanni down the flanks to get it
mhm.
in. Hopefully Montella, who was, other than his late stint for Apollo, he had a couple of teams last time out, and never really did anything. So
Mhm.
we're hoping this save is a bit different and he can produce his Roma form.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens anyway. We'll kick off the first
Yeah.
half, and yeah, if you get emotional, then please don't hold back.
No, I won't.
Oh,
There's Robin. Oh,
oh, that's Romeo.
terrible start.
See if you can get one back before half time. It's not all is not lost.
Oh,
Oh,
terrible.
although it does seem as if that's going to be a tricky one to get back from.
Yeah. The third goal has killed it now, isn't it?
I mean, that's
The
key.
stats wise is not, 4 shots, but unfortunately 4 shots have gone in and 3 on target, which keeper was the one position I was a bit worried about. The two options I had, Carini. Um, but as you say, I've got 3 defensive midfielders and they're all playing a 5.
I mean, I'm surprised at that. I would have thought. I mean, what
Yeah,
Kalatza sneaks in a 5, Di they're all 5s.
yeah.
That's
The problem is again, and I've talked a lot about with Palmer about this in terms of you never know who's going to be, who's going to carry their form on. Kaladza and Tamasi were unbelievable in the last save. Will they be able to replicate their form this time out? I'm not too sure. Ndai obviously is quality, and obviously it's only one game, but that's where you're hoping to base your team on. Was my defensive 3, and when they're all playing a 5, you haven't really got much hope. But as I say, they've only had 4 shots on goal and they've scored 3 of them. So Carini's
yeah.
got to take, a bit of responsibility there as well. But, he was a kind of a link I was worrying about Carini, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean, Khan's obviously not had a lot to do. He's on a 7.
No.
David's on a 9. I mean, that as as we said before, they are one of the, I mean,
Yeah,
top 2
they're going to
by
be one of
many,
the
top 2.
favourites. Yeah.
So we'll hopefully the second
Yeah.
half will
They can't
not
all
get
play.
worse.
They can't all play 5s, can they? They
No,
can't.
no.
You'd hope not, anyway.
Well, they're doing the best to.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, I see chances. I see you coming
yeah.
forward.
You looked at obviously the stats at half time is 4 shots to 3, but
Hmm.
that's where obviously in the Super League is, where you get punished, and it's just quite strange they've scored 4 and Van Nistelrooy hasn't yet scored one, which is a bit strange.
Yeah, I mean, because looking at it, I wouldn't necessarily pick Romeo in front of Montella or Viduka, but
No, yeah, but
I
as you
mean,
say, you look at those stats, more shots on goal. But as I say, the only stat that counts is 4-0. As I say, I think obviously, player ratings, you can't, if you've got 3 defensive midfielders, you could maybe cope with, one or two of them, one of them having a bad game. But when you've got Ndai and Kaladza who have both played a 5 for the 90 minutes,
yeah,
say Giovanni, and I didn't have many options, obviously, with Giggs, and, maybe it's something I'll need to look to maybe go a bit more narrow, because I've maybe got a bit more quality you can play in the centre. I wasn't sold on Giovanni, but I kind of, you give it a go. But
I mean,
overall,
it's a risk-free game really to give it a go. I mean, if you
yeah,
win, if you get a result, it's great. If you don't, then fair enough. You'll pick up more points later on. I'm just
yeah,
looking at it here. Maybe looking at your crosses. You see, Viduka's only a challenging for 3 headers, and
yeah,
he won 1 of them. Montella challenges for a lot more headers, won 1 of them.
yeah.
3 shots, none on target. Viduka not even a single shot. It's maybe a question of just getting the ball up to them because
Yeah, well,
uh,
I think obviously I don't think the attacking players had enough. The DMC's playing as how bad they were. How much did they give them the ball? But say if you look at the stats, if you took the 4-0 out of it and you didn't know what the score was and you showed those stats, you wouldn't probably be saying a 4-0, but
No, you'd think a draw or a narrow win for the home side, but
yeah, but as I say, 4 shots on target, 5 on target, 4 goals.
that's
Carini, I'm surprised Carini played a 6. If I'm being
yeah.
honest, I think
To be fair, that's I mean.
so. If you're conceding, nearly 80% on shots on target have gone in.
But
I,
he's
I'm
apparently he
not
had a
expecting.
couple of he had 2 key tackles and 1 key header, which I presume is preventing 3 other goals. So I mean, so maybe that's
Possibly,
what counts
yeah,
it up. So, but it's a shame. I mean, at least gigs, at least someone is representing the Welsh the
yeah,
Welsh colours.
yeah,
So that's always
exactly.
something. That's always something. Okay, well that was obviously a bit of a shame for you. So we're
Yeah,
moving into
I'm
the
used to this. All right.
the commentators. I will do my best to get someone else on, so maybe
Yeah,
you can
I
escape
know.
the commentators currently
Oh no, it's all right. It's the
occasionally.
only thing I'm half tied yet, apparently. So
Right. Well, if we have a look at Hornets, then I think Palmer's going to have to wait. I know he's enjoying this, so he won't mind us talking for a bit longer.
okay.
Um, we look at Hornets. They finished second last season. Of course, it's a new squad, but what do you reckon? They are looking. I mean, Craig knows what he's doing, and the squad's looking well. And to all of the people who are thinking, oh, they play like all these made up tactics, they play all this, they may be cheating or marking the keeper or doing something.
Yeah,
This is a
it's
4-1-3-2 out of the box. I don't think there's
yeah,
anything different with it
it's
really.
it's a weird one because I think in this league you play what you play to your strengths. I got to be honest, I was a bit disappointed when I saw the formation. It's tried and tested, but it just seems to me the same old Hardeston. I know he was saying he wanted to rebrand and things, but I don't know. I just thought I can see what he's doing. He's got the players that fits the formation. Babayaro and Sanyol great on the flanks. I don't know. I think because it's just the same old. I thought maybe he would have tried something a bit different, but he's got to be honest, I think he deserves a bit of credit in terms of the transfer market because I think his squad now is a lot better than what it
Hmm.
was. I think when he first came out, I thought he was probably the one that had a bit of a bum draw
Hmm.
in terms of the players that he had. But fair play to him in the transfer market. He's done well. And I can see why he's gone for that formation because he has got the players to suit it. I think I love Dorney, Cristiano Dorney. I love him in the midfield.
Hmm.
A bit surprised possibly to see Amoroso not start. I know obviously he's got Segal and Batistuta who are great goal scorers, but I do really like Amoroso.
Yeah, I mean, I would have perhaps gone for. I know, but it's Championship Manager
Yeah,
0102. If you have Sigalko, you have to play him
yeah,
personally. I think you'd get more goals out of. I mean, he's got Etu as well on the bench.
yeah. Oh,
Hello.
he's got very good options. He's
I'm
I
not sure I would have gone with Sigalko, but he's such a big name in the
exactly,
actual in the
yeah.
league, so you've
To
got to
not
you've got to
to
put him
not
on there.
to not play him just is it would have been a hard choice, but you can't argue with his strike force. Batistuta as well, and I say he's got Eto and Amoroso on the bench. So in
Hmm.
all fairness to Craig, he's done great business.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the squad and considering the manager's experience, top 3 for Hardison, do you think this season, or is that too optimistic? There's many other teams in, obviously,
To
but
be honest, it's not optimistic because he's clearly a manager who knows what he's doing. I think, we've maybe been critical about his kind of, how much he interacts. I think, he is, doing a lot more now, but managerial wise, no one can doubt him one bit. He certainly knows what he's doing. So top 3, maybe a bit optimistic, but I wouldn't rule him out for the top 6 at all.
hmm. And then we've got Swindon Devils. Good job, 5 feet on the podcast today, half and half scarves. If you didn't
Yeah.
already catch it, then go and have a listen.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a great introduction to the league. Obviously now
Yeah.
you've already seen what it's all about, but so you'll understand a little bit more of what's going on in the actual podcast. So
Yeah.
that was a really good listen. Half and half scarves if you're in doubt. Same tactic. I can't remember what Swindon Devils played last season of a tactic. Maybe they chopped and changed a
Well,
little bit, but
Swindon, they played this obviously the same as Hardeston in the first kind of 2.5, 3 seasons. Last year, I think when it went a bit pear shaped, they were a team that kind of experimented and changed everything around. But this was the same. I think them, Apollo and Hardeston, they were the ones that kind of used this tactic a lot. So it's something Fifey's familiar with, and obviously something he said on his blog that he was going to do it because he wanted to. Um, he thought Hardeston would go with the same formation, so he wanted to kind of go up against them, kind of man for man.
hmm.
Uh, so it's a strong side. Obviously the strike force, to Madeira, and Clivert is great. Zeriberto, Zidane, Carlos, Taribo West, great centre half. So he's got a lot of quality there. But for me, Fifey and Palmer, I think there's a lot of fighting of who's the most relevant manager, and who's this, and let's be honest, they both do amazing work for the league. Fifey's blog's amazing, the podcast now with Half and Half, and Palmer is just he's someone the league can't be without. But for me,
they're both going to be in the bottom 8 though, aren't they, realistically?
They should be embarrassed to be talking about themselves. I make no bones about it. I know I'm pretty shocking, but obviously they're talking about the most relevant. They've been in the league 4 seasons. Not one of them have made the playoffs. So it's all well and good doing all this work, but if you want to be the most relevant but someone who doesn't get near the playoffs, it's not something I'd want to brag about.
Yeah. And of course now we don't have.
I love them both, but you know.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The league couldn't be without them, and it's a good 6 points for some of the bigger clubs as well,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
so they definitely serve a good purpose. Maybe I don't know, maybe one of them can push into the top 6. We'll see. I mean, Swindon's got a chance with this squad, to be honest.
Yeah, I think his strike force especially, and he's got Huntelaar on the bench as well. He's got good options, so I think strong centre halves as well. So they've definitely he's definitely got a decent squad, Fifey.
Okay, well, we'll kick it off, and we'll see how they get on. Oh, and Swindon, I was hoping this would happen. They're in a very, very, very tasty away kit, very, very tasty away colours they've got there. Let's see if they blind their opponents.
Yeah.
I mean, they're looking at. I can't see a thing when they get the chances. So. Oh, Batistuta.
Batistuta.
He is strong, especially the first couple of seasons. Tigalco's doing things as well. I honestly cannot see what happens when Swindon does something.
No, I know. I'm trying to look at who the names are. I'm just waiting to see if something flashes because I've got no idea who is actually doing what.
That was Scholes. Scholes did something. Scholes definitely did something there.
Yeah, I've got no idea who's doing anything for Swindon, to be honest.
Ardsley got injured. That's what happened.
Something.
I think we put Gilberto Silva on there. What do you think?
I don't know. Maybe Elmander. I think if he's looking to go a bit more attacking, I think Elmander's got.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Deisler's attacking. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't sure whether.
No. Yeah, we could have gone with either, but I think a 2-0 down maybe. He's looking to get back into the game.
Yeah. Well, he should be.
I'm just looking for a flash. I've got no idea who's doing anything. I think I saw Taribo West's name there, but I'm not too sure, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, we'll hopefully we'll
it's a bit more blue for Fifey though, so it's a bit more encouraging.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully we'll. Oh well.
Well, maybe not.
We'll see. Well, they've done well.
Yeah. So as I said, Craig knows what he's doing, and as I say, he's certainly someone who, you can't call him a dark horse of what he's done, but this squad, Batistuta and Sigalco, they'll get goals. They've got good players all over. I think Fifey's going to be disappointed though, being 3-0 down at half time. Ethiog having a 5 again, Madeira, Clivert, they just.
I mean, that's disappointing. He did ask me if he was losing at halftime if I could push Zidane up to this role with an arrow. I can. I don't.
It's not going to make any difference, but
I don't think it's gonna help. But I've been wrong before. So so let's see what happens in the second half. Maybe they'll get one back and get something to cheer about. It would be a shame. I mean, I love the colors. It's annoying that I can't see what's going on, but I do love the color combination. I must admit. I mean, Hoddesdon, we've not had a red card for a couple of games. Hoddesdon could get one, and then we'll see. I mean, it's not gotten any worse.
No,
which is good.
That's something anyway.
But still, there's not enough blue and pink really to worry anyone, I think.
No, it's a lot more black now, isn't it? It's been a bit of a routine.
And then It's a tough one. It's a shame. I mean, all of the he does the work. He puts in the work with the tactics. He does the blog. He does the chat. He
Oh,
does
it's
the
rough.
podcast. He does a
And,
ton
and,
of work for the league.
and
I
do you know
mean,
what he does better than anyone? He gets battered.
well,
Hey, look, I told you I love Fifey. I lost 4-0. He's gone one better and lost
yeah,
5-0. So
exactly. I mean,
this is why he's
there's
relevant and the most loved manager, because he's useless.
yeah, that's maybe a strong word, but based on
No,
that
oh, I got to
performance,
be honest.
I
I'm
mean, to be
disappointed.
fair,
I
to
think he's got a good squad there, Devils, and I think he's going to be really disappointed. Obviously, same as myself. But I thought, looking at the squad before the game, I thought Devils, he's solid back four. Cambiaso in the back. Two strikers,
mhm.
quality strikers. So I think he's going to be really. It's not as if he's got a bum side Swindon. So I think that's
No,
going to hurt Fifey tonight because
he's
it's
he's gonna have a look at the instructions as well. I think
yeah,
too, because
it's a big opening
you
day
can lose
long.
one or two to away to Hoddesdon. That's no shame. They were, I mean,
No,
it's a super manager. They have a great squad. They were second in the league last season. We don't have a defending champion, obviously, so he's effectively the best manager if you look at regular season results
yes, of
in the
course he
game
is. Yeah,
with a very good squad. So I'm not surprised to
yeah.
see Swindon lose.
But
I'm surprised to see them lose
20,
by that much.
22, 22 shots on goal, 15 on target. You can't be allowing that
No,
amount in a Super League
no,
match.
no,
I
no, no,
personally
no.
don't feel. Um, you look at the stats here, and they represent the stat of a 5-0 win. Zidane again, captain playing a five. That's not good enough, is it?
And 13 shots, 7 on target, and no goals. I mean, he's not getting champed, but Landro had a good game, to be fair.
Yeah, Londro's a good keeper. He got him off me in the last game, and he was happy with that.
Hmm.
But yeah, look at his back four. Lucio, I love. Babiaro, I think, a really underrated player. And those stats are outstanding. I really love Cristiano Doni. I think he'll be a great player for them.
Yeah, and if anyone is watching out there and thinking, oh, how can I make my squad better? How can I get my team to play better? See if you have 22 shots on goal, 22 shots in total. Look at how many shots came from Batistuta and Sigalco. They have 16 of the 22 shots. That's because Craig knows what he's doing
Yeah,
his tactics. They're set up to get the ball into those guys. I know that some people are quite sort of vocal about, oh, you should have everyone on long shots, you should do this, you should do that. If you can get the two players that you have with 20 in finishing to have all the shots on goal, then you will probably win.
yeah,
It's
you're
it's
gonna got a better chance than most.
you can call him boring, but 5-0,
Oh
22
no,
shots on goal,
they're
16 of them
far.
from his strikers, and 4 goals between them.
Yeah.
That's
As I
that's
say,
gone okay.
I wanted to see a different formation just because I wanted to see a little bit different, but I also understand why he's gone with it. He's got the players, for that formation. And as I say, 5-0 represents, what more can you do?
Yeah, so, well, he might be back towards the top. Someone else who'd be looking to push into the top six is our old friend Palmer. And what is it? Hashtag one at the back. Is this what we're doing now?
Yeah,
He did it
I'm
once last season. I think he won. It was probably
he,
against me though, but
he done it twice, I think, last
uh,
year. But I get, yeah, it's another one. I think, um, I don't know. He said, I often think to myself, if the fixtures hadn't have been changed and he was playing against Timmy, would he have played one
uh,
at the back? I'm not so sure. I think he would have bottled it and he would have gone a bit more defensively.
mhm.
Uh, but
I was
I,
thinking, is it because he doesn't have any defenders? But then I look at
he's got
it.
Okaronko, isn't he?
Okaronko, he's got Eddie Pope. Melchett can play in the central if he wants. He's not great, but he can.
Yeah, I
Marvin,
like.
what's his name again? Marvin Andrews.
Yeah, I like
Um,
Okaronko. I'm surprised he wasn't at least on the bench.
he's a top 10 average rating player from last season.
Yeah, I
Cannavaro isn't, and neither is and I mean, so yeah.
and Vasiliuk not playing. I thought that was maybe a bit of a shock.
Which one? Sorry.
Vasiliuk, I
Yeah,
thought
yeah, yeah, yeah,
possibly not even on the bench.
yeah.
I think for Palmer, same as with Veron at Bolton, he's massively going to be reliant on Nicky Ferenko.
Hmm.
That's his main man. If he gets him firing, he's got half a chance. If he doesn't, I think he's going to struggle.
Yeah, I mean the strikers again are not the biggest names, but anyone who's played champ knows that if If you look at, like, is it the Bundesliga or something?
Yeah.
Ebisand is going to be he's going to be the top
Ebersand's
scorer in the Bundesliga the first 3 or 4 seasons without a doubt. Anyway, so
Ebersand's quality. He's a bit, a bit like Rossini. Maybe not your biggest name, but he's someone who will get goals.
yeah. So, and he's up against our last new boy. Let's see if we can find him here. Oh, I should probably click continue to get a squad number for Paul Robinson. And then this is our last guy, our last new manager, who's so unlucky with the injuries, with the restart. Of course, as mentioned, we had some technical issues. That's why the fixture list was changed. The game had to be restarted. New fixtures came out. We had to replay the first 3 weeks up to the first round. And unfortunately, he picked up 3 injuries in that time to Hofland. I mean, Venetidis, I'm not sure would have started, but Hofland, you would have thought, and Kessman could have probably started.
Well, he's got so much quality as centre half, hasn't he? Klompe, Montero, Hofland, Roque Jr.
Yeah.
That's outstanding for centre halves. I think he'll be gutted, obviously, about the Kesman injury.
Yeah.
I think Kesman and Impenza up front, them two would have been. They're probably one, along with Crespo and Brozek. They are probably one of my favourite strike forces when he can get them both on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, you could have had those. You could have had those two next to each other, and then just Kuhl behind them. Now,
yes.
I think it's due to the injury that he's playing Tobias Gran on the AMC role, because if you look at his backup striker options,
they're not the best.
Shevelev is too young at this point.
Yeah.
Kellstrom I mean, he's FC, but he doesn't score when he's up there. Adolfo, nope.
Yeah. I was really interested to see the lineup, because obviously I don't know how much he looked at season 1 of the Super League, if he even paid any attention to it at all. But obviously Neil Scally and Tobias Gran were two of the most instrumental players for Haller in winning the title in season 1. And I did wonder if both of them would start, because obviously he has got a lot of options at centre half and attacking midfielders with Kuhl and obviously Impenza and that. But I think if he's going to be hoping that them two probably can do the business like they did for Haller in season 1.
Yeah, Gattuso and Gerrard next to Scally. It's not a bad back centre three.
Lampard's one of probably the only ones which I'm not.
It was shocking for me.
Yeah, I'm not convinced on Lampard, but Van der Vaart and, as I say, Gattuso, Scally, Gerrard. I think so many people are having quality DMCs, where there's 2 or 3. There seems to be so many, quality kind of partnerships there.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. But so this is our last game of the evening,
Yep.
Palmer. This is what you've been waiting for. Ian was probably the most keen guy on getting this started. So so it's a shame he's last, but at least he'll get to enjoy it. Hopefully he'll enjoy it. We'll see. We'll take a 3-3 with a couple of red cards, please.
Yeah.
It died down with the red cards after the first 2 games.
Yeah. I think everyone should, realise I don't think it could have continued like that. No. There would have been an investigation into the referees if it had happened.
There's a lot of Impenza action, not a lot of Impenza goals.
I think he's one of the players everyone wanted in Penza. He's but that man Ebersand did say same as Rossini. He's going to go under the radar.
I think I'm pretty sure Wayne Oldham was the referee in the first game as well. But and they are kicking off at the same time. But let's not dwell on facts. It is, after all, just a game.
Yeah, let's.
There was a lot of. I would have expected more chances, considering the amount of text action we had.
Yeah, I thought it would have been better than that, to be honest. I think Impenza's name seemed to get mentioned an awful lot. So I was surprised that there seems to be that little amount of action, because the bar seemed to be going a lot. There wasn't really a fast half, but Palmer's going to be happy with that at the moment.
It looks as if his players they've hardly had the ball, have they?
Yeah.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players with single-digit touches. That's
one thing I'll give to Palmer. He's kind of the one person who always seems to produce solid performances from his team, win or lose. He's someone who always, 90% of his team will always play, average a 7 or above. He's normally, one of the ones who gets the best out of his players.
Yeah.
Even when they lose, they seem to produce good ratings.
Yeah, and if we look at Midlothian, we've got Scally and Gattuso on a 6. I'm
Yeah, but
surprised
it's a
with surprised with Gattuso. He's normally,
yeah,
but is he? Yeah, he's
it's a
right.
sort
I
of,
mean, does it matter that he's on the left side of that three? Would that
yeah,
make a difference? I don't know, to be honest. There's a
no,
theory about left and right footed players and either foot or whatever
yeah.
which side they should play on. Well, I don't know, but it's not brilliant.
No, but I think it's another solid performance. It's only two of them playing below a 7. So I think that this game's definitely there for one of them. I think Midlothian will still be hoping that they can get something out of
Hmm.
this.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens in the second half. I mean, Sand is there as well. He's
Yeah,
again, he's
we
looking
talked
dangerous.
about that. He'll get goals. He's maybe not one of the big names you'd fancy, but he's definitely there.
Oh, and
There.
Nedved as well.
So,
They're taking over now. Palmer to Nikos. Hashtag one
yeah,
at the back.
yeah.
Could it be a thing?
He need to play it a bit more often for me. I think he tend to, as you say, when he played the kind of bottom teams at home, he kind of brought it back into play. But
Hmm.
whenever he kind of played someone who was and at the end of the day, if you're playing a top team, yeah, you have got to be a bit more conservative. But until he plays it for me, a kind of over the course of a few games, it's never going to be a thing for me.
Oh, and Nedved again. Uh,
But a great second half for Palmer. I think he's
yeah,
been. First half, I thought Midlothian were kind of. I thought they were well in the game, if not maybe the bit better team. But that second half, there was only, it was all Palmer in that second half.
yeah. I mean, relatively similar amount of shots on target, but generally, I mean,
Yeah,
13 shots. If you look at
I,
the stats of the players, I
yeah,
mean,
I thought it was a great second half for Palmer.
8 across the board. Nikiforenko, hmm,
Yeah,
he's
but
done okay.
they've won without him playing great, so that's going to be another great sign. But you look at the defensive midfielders, but there, there's 8: Salihamidzic, Ugatos, Ambrosini, Poe, Decor, every one of them across that back five has played an 8. So he's going to be massively happy with that. To say Yardell, I'm not sold on, um, but that's a great result for Palmer.
Definitely. And Midlothian, to be fair, they didn't play badly. I think they just,
No, I think say this first half, I thought they were well in it, unlucky to be losing. But second half, I think Palmer, the defensive midfielders kind of controlled the game and they
yeah,
just
they never
took
got
over.
through that. They never got through that, did they?
No,
Through
no,
that line there. I mean, you can see
yeah,
Impenza had 4 shots, but I think that was mainly in the first half, and then Grant had a couple in, I think, in the second. But that's
yeah,
it's a tricky one. It's a tricky and it's frustrating because you can see it as a kind of a joke tactic. But what I will say to Ian is that Palmer actually picked up a couple of wins with it last season as well, and
yeah. I
and
think he
and his
every
squad
time he
is
played
relatively
last.
strong. So it's definitely not losing to a joke tactic. It's just
No,
you just have to be really good to get a result in this
yeah,
league, really. So
exactly.
it's something that people will have to learn. You can see, I mean,
Yeah,
Phoenix, of course. Someone had to win in Phoenix
yeah,
against Sloths of the new kids. Maybe some lessons to be learned or to be considered for Andreas or
yeah,
and for Ian with regards to your formation and how you should do things. But we'll see. I'm
yeah.
sure people will learn from what has happened.
Yeah, they'll learn, as I say. Just it can sometimes take a while to get the right fit for your team, but as I
True.
say, there's not many shocks tonight. I think obviously the Hooligans against Astor, that's going to be the big result. And I think BTEC losing playing against 9 men, that's something they'll be massively disappointed with.
I mean, that's definitely a talking point, isn't it? Losing against
Yeah,
nine, and for that amount of time as
yeah,
well. That was
exactly.
really,
Especially they had 10 men after, was it 13 minutes, and then 30 odd minutes they've down. So that's uh that's a bad start for them.
yeah,
Two of the
um,
favourites as well losing.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, there's a couple of clean sheets for some of the big names. I mean,
Yeah,
Hoddesdon and Churchtown, obviously, two of relatively successful teams from last season.
yeah,
Hornets perhaps unlucky to not make
yeah,
the final last season. I mean,
yeah,
to be honest, I mean, I've I've obviously tested it. I still haven't worked out how that works, but I'm sure we'll get to it
yeah.
with the
Oh,
preliminary
it's good
final
fun.
and the small semi-final and these things.
Yeah,
But
there's a lot of
we'll
games sticking fast.
6 months till we reach that. So I'm sure we'll be fine by then. Um, yeah, upset. Any upsets? Do you think really?
No, I don't think any upsets. Well, Aston Athletic against Hooligans for me would have been an upset, obviously without the early red card. But no, everyone else, I think, there's no one I'd say really there's a shock. As I say, opening game is hard. No one knows what kind of formations people were playing. So it wasn't easy, but there's not really many shocks other than Hooligans losing so heavily.
Yeah, and if we look ahead to next week's fixtures, so hopefully this will be broadcast next Sunday, obviously, and
Yeah,
we'll be live again same time. Um, you're at home
yeah,
to the guy who doesn't have any central defenders because they're all suspended. What do you think about
yeah,
that?
yeah. Well, yeah, it's a good shout. But yeah, I think obviously odds they've got a lot of quality midfielders. But I say home games, I think for every team they're vital. If anyone wants to finish in the playoffs, you've got to have good home form. So that's something we're going to have to, look at over the next week in terms of what formation. As you say, you are right, they're going to be without their two main centre halves. So we've got to look to maybe what can we do to exploit that. But home games are going to be key for every manager.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I lost, I think, 11 out of 13 last season, so that's
Yeah,
pretty good. So,
we're,
so yeah, definitely will be important. I mean, Sloths got a difficult one. I mean, they didn't have much luck today. It's going down, I think, 3-0 to Bolton, didn't they? And then
yeah.
they welcome Alf
Sloths are the
and
one
his machine.
I think they've got the most work to do. Sloths, I think they maybe need to look at, that formation. Maybe it looked to me as if a formation which will work fine, maybe on your normal save just against the computer, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough to, enough to do anything in the Super League.
Perhaps not. Well, we'll see. We'll certainly see. And
Yeah,
then we've
it's,
got a
it's,
couple
it's
of
early days yet, isn't it?
Yeah, and we've got a couple of new boys facing off against each other again. We've got Valian United against Bolton Phoenix.
Yeah,
So this will be interesting to see
yeah.
if our
They're both,
Swedish friend can bounce back after that Chudley result and maybe
yeah.
get something against Phoenix.
Yeah, a tough one for Swindon after their defeat tonight, going up against Chadli. That's probably it's a home game, but it's probably something that they didn't want, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I can say to all the faithful listeners that it's due to the due to the unique way that this game works, it's difficult to get a full fixture list for the league printed out. I will send it out to the individual managers, and then they can then decide what to share and what not to share, etc. And if someone wants to sit and write the whole thing down, then they're also much more than welcome. But it's tricky to get
Yeah,
an extract from the league. But we'll maybe do a couple of weeks in advance. We'll publish it, or certainly I'll publish it now. Who's playing next week? So people
yeah,
can book time in their calendars if their favorite team is up against an interesting opponent. So I think that's about it, folks.
yeah. Been a good night. Great to be back.
Absolutely. I mean, I was going to say in my notes it says, could we have asked for a more intense and action-packed start to the season? That was certainly true for the first couple of games.
Yeah. No, we
So
got a lot of goals. We got a lot of action, a lot of talking points. Certainly, a lot to talk over this week. So it'd be interesting to see the feedback from the managers. And as I say, looking forward to next Sunday already.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I hope Fife will have time for the blog now with the tactical amendments he might have to do, but after that result. But we'll see how it goes. So,
Yeah,
Jamie, thank you very much for
no
providing the
worries.
expertise as usual. For everyone listening, please make sure you follow us on Twitter. If you enjoyed the stream, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, as I am told by younger people, I have to say at the end of this.
I was waiting for that.
We'll be back next week, roughly at the same time, and definitely on the same place. Good night, everyone, and thank
Take
you
it
very
easy.
much for listening.
Good night.